Well, yes, and that's Safaricom, of course, looking at the dominance report and what they have to say about it. I will delve deeper because we had a kind of a fruitful chat with Dibalo onto that and how that will impact on the market. But now we just want to switch gears. It will be nothing to do with dominance, but something related to it, because we mentioned about mobile payments. We mentioned about, where the ICT fraternity is headed, especially in Kenya, looking at it in East Africa. Should I say Kenya also benchmarking with Kigali, Rwanda? But at the heart of it is really matters to do with e-commerce and internet payment for that matter. And today we're joined by none other than Nunua, who's actually an entity under Church Place Group that is looking towards kind of getting into this space. And I have three gentlemen with me today. Before we delve into the discussion, I'd like you to introduce yourself, starting from my far left.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Gideon Gitonga. I am the managing director, Nunua. And also I'm a business analyst by profession. I've done mathematics and computer science, and also I've done something in computational finance. So basically a lot of analysis and a lot of algorithms about around the computer field.
I can tell you're roaring to go, and I'll pose the first question to you, but moving on.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, good morning. My name is Mutinda. I'm a project manager with Homestay Safari. Homestay Safari is an online platform that is changing the travel industry, the approach on how people are doing their holidays, how they are doing their vacations, such that people can be able to have a wide variety of options that is looking at convenience, space, and at least having that kind of a breakthrough to enjoy their hard-earned cash.
Great.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Muthui, the Group CEO, Church Place Group of Companies. I am a technology market interpreter for Africa and beyond Africa regarding the matters of the global cyber space and the cyber technology.
I want to start with you, Isaac, because you under Church Place you have different entities, but Nunua seems to be kind of your pet project, I should say. Before we get particularly to Nunua, I want to say, what opportunity have you seen, especially in the e-commerce, particularly in Kenya?
Thank you. I would want to change a little bit from e-commerce to a different word, because when we talk about e-commerce, we seem to limit the reality. We should introduce a term called Kenyan cyber territory. And just to give you a little bit background, in 1963 when we got independence, what matters was our land. And that is what everybody wanted to acquire, and our grandfathers were buying land. In our time, what was not realized is that Kenya had been given 4 territories. We have the Kenyan waters, the Kenyan land, and the Kenyan airspace. In our generation, what matters is the Kenyan cyber territory. And for us to understand the Kenyan cyber territory, we need to understand the residents of the cyber territory. The residents of the cyber territory are people, intellectual property, money, confidential information. And 98% of the world's wealth is in the Kenyan cyber territory. And the question is, who is mining or who is having the title deeds in the Kenyan cyber territory or the African cyber territory, and what is the way or what is the license towards acquiring a cyber territory title deed? Because every business that is operating, whether it is from the mobile platform or it is communication, GSM communication, tracking of vehicles, buying online, it is happening within the Kenyan cyber territory, which actually it's a territory just like the land we have, which has the police, it has the civilians, it has everything. That's the way I would want as we start looking at the Kenyan cyber territory.
It's a big word, I should say. Of course, you can't quite really, if you compare land and it really matters online, how you'd actually look at it. But let's also agree that it still matters to do with, how do you access payments online? How do you access goods and services, say at the comfort of your home, as I was asking about, like, where exactly you stay from. And you don't really need to go to a shop, say again, from the usual brick and mortar, I should say. Let's look at tourism. And Mutinda, you mentioned that you're actually looking at that. How do you manage to, because I know as tourists, you need to have, the client there with you. How do you manage to do this on an internet platform?
Well, basically we realize the conventional method of people finding out their locations to go and holiday or business, leisure, and all that, most of their choices are informed by the internet. So they'll go online, they'll make a search based on the criteria. Most platforms you'll find around will be able to provide categories based on your search criteria, maybe your budget, the location, and therefore it brings you several options that you can be able to choose from. So basically in this kind of an environment, you realize it's providing more information. You know, we're in the information age, and someone wants to make an informed decision, wants to make out the best out of what is available. So the idea is just actually platforming the resources, that is the travel resources, which are properties available, and having them on the online platform such that they can be easily accessed. And you realize at the end of the day, if something is not online, to some people it does not exist, especially to the people who depend on online searches for them to make a choice or not they want to use.
But I'll come into culture, because when you say that, when you say that whatever is online, that people might not see that it exists, because some people will not even trust what is online unless they touch and feel. There's still that perception that Kenyans we still have, which is that. Just a quick comment on that before I move over to Gideon.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. That is there, and you'll realize it's a traditional thought, and for the people who have tried buying anything online, getting vacation online and all that, they have a different kind of an experience. So mostly when you go online and such kind of things, you'll realize there are reviews that people put up there, such that you can be able to trust their product. Being that someone has used the platform and is overexcited about the same, or he got the best deal you could ever get, that's an enough kind of thing that someone can hold on to and be able to take that direction. So I think it's good to break the tradition. You may never know what you're missing unless you be able to try it out. And it's good to try it out as Isaac I talked, in a more secured environment. When that is implemented, or when that is actually, someone is sure about the security of his information and funds if he's paying online, I believe that will be a major breakthrough to allow everyone else to be able to trust the kind of online platform and be able to get what he wants.
You know, for Isaac, you have to mention that his environment is a cyber territory.
It's a cyber territory. All of us are operating in a cyber territory.
No, but I'm saying he would prefer it to be called the cyber territory, which is the big word.
The big word.
Cyber culture, is it?
Yes, that's a word.
All right.
Creating a cyber culture.
Indeed. Okay.
That's what you're asking him.
Yes.
That every region seems to follow the cyber culture that has been created there. If you go to Nigeria, for example, there's a cyber culture which seems not to be very good, because we believe to touch anything to do with internet from Nigeria, you must be very careful.
Because of fraud cases, of course, we've had a lot of that.
That's just like the normal culture that we have on the ground. That's just a cyber culture that has been created in Nigeria. In Kenya, we need to all the apparatus available to make sure that the cyber culture that we have, ranging from the regulator, it's a cyber culture that can be trusted. Yes.
That's great. Moving on to Gideon.
Yes.
You really wanted to jump in on something I was asking about culture, but I wouldn't want you to answer that question. But you are a managing director at, and you have barely hit 30. Just talk us through your journey into entrepreneurship, and particularly Nunua.
Yes.
And then you can answer what we asked about, culture space in Kenya.
Yeah, sure. I think there has been a good trend with the young people in the country. The young people at this age are very innovative. They have very good ideas, and they're able to come up with very good solutions. As a business analyst, I've been able to study business processes and come up with technological solutions for the same. Now, what happened is, I had a very good idea for Nunua, where people can be able to shop from wherever they are and goods delivered in real time. The good thing is Nunua is an FMCG is an FMCG platform. That's our brand identity. So we have been doing products that need to get home within 20 minutes. Right? The delivery times must be, and in Kenya the address system is hogwash. It's not like in America where the address system is very good. So basically, I had a challenge of being able to implement this dream that I had. But I think under church-based group, I was able to be given that mandate. And I think Mr. Isaac Muthui, who is the group CEO, was able to bring people, both the people with the money, now who are the old people who invested in land, who invested in properties, and they were able to see the dreams that are in us, the young people. And I feel honored being an MD at only 26.
It's true, Isaac, you have a tall order, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking towards delivering goods within 20 minutes, and
Yeah,
in
sure.
your words, you say that the address system in Kenya is hogwash. How do you do that?
We have cracked it.
How?
What we've done, is we've developed a technology that is able to pin the customer from where he is, and we get a pickup point which is the shop. We get our riders who are closest to the pickup point, pick the goods and deliver within the shortest time possible. So basically, it's a GPS system. We've worked around it, and it's working perfectly well. So getting back to what you were saying, from the research we did before we launched our product, Nunua, we saw that only 23% of Kenyans in 2014 were actually shopping online. Only 23% of Kenyans. Within 2 years, we have seen an uptick to up to 68% of Kenya who are looking for products online. So which means the perceptions that he was talking about, the perceptions are changing. Kenyans are becoming more receptive to the online marketplace. As a matter of fact, and this has been engineered by the high penetration of internet and the high penetration of mobile telephony. Right now, smartphones in Nairobi have grown up to 87%. The people in Nairobi who own smartphones, it is 87% of Nairobians own smartphones. So you can see it's actually growing, and the perceptions are actually changing. So we're looking at by 2020, year 2020, at least we can hit the 80% mark where everybody trusts products that are online. The other thing that is working so well for us right now, it's Kofek. Kofek has come, you see, what I'm doing with Nunua, I'm providing a platform for retailers to connect the retailers to their wholesalers and to their consumers. So which means I'm actually not the owner of the product which is being sold. It is the retail outlet. And Confec has reigned on retail outlets that advertise a product, but when they deliver it, it is not what the customer saw. So I think the consumer awareness that is being created by Confec, that you can complain if something that you saw online is not what was delivered, you can actually complain. I think our partners who are the retail outlets are getting more keen. They are understanding the e-commerce market, because one thing that e-commerce provides you is you're no longer geographically limited.
Will somebody argue that you're actually trying to break the distribution channels? Because normally what we'll say is, you're moving in from manufacturing.
You've got the point.
To also, but I'll come back to
Yes.
that. But I want to just jump back really quickly to Isaac. Kind of on a macro level, earlier we were just discussing about, Safaricom and the dominance and just looking at the whole internet space.
Yes.
and what have you. Gideon has been kind enough to, splash us with a bit of statistics, like looking at the 80% connectivity within the country. But still, with with these advancements towards technology, do you feel that the internet space, kind of the platform, I should say, the cyber territory as you call it, is well supported in Kenya?
To be honest, it's a yes and a no. A yes because when I looked at the recent rating for Kenya, Nairobi became the 10th most dynamic city in the world, even beating New York. That tells you that, and then you go into deeper analysis, you realize that one of the things that we were considering was technology. That tells you that we are trying as much as we can. But again, no. My no is based on a disconnect between the people who are in technology and the people who hold the power and money. That the young generation that is carrying technology has innovation but does not have money to move it. The people who are in power, for you to get into a level where you are in power, you need to have walked a long distance. Maybe you are at least 45 years and above. And most of those people believe in investing on a property that they can see with their eyes. And getting them to understand that pointing to technology, that's the way forward. It's very difficult. You get someone who is maybe 55 years old and you tell them, invest 10 or 20 million shillings in an application. They would wonder, 20 million, I've already built my whole house in Mulolongo and I'm getting rent. And this
application you can't quite touch and feel. As
you cannot, yeah. So, but them that are starting to understand, including the government, very happy about the government because they put a young person who has been in technology and worked with technology. if the government can keep on looking for talent and involving the young generation into implementing a speedy, innovative environment, I think we can get there very fast, more than we are. That would be my genuine answer about where we are as a government and as a people.
That's great.
Yeah.
Of course, speaking of technology, and you're sitting at home and you're wondering how you can participate into this, yes, you can call in through the numbers on your screen. Get in touch with us through the social media platforms again on your screen. Also tweet me at Laban-Cliff, and we'll be able to sample your questions, comments as we go along in this discussion. Because as we say, everyone is online, right?
Oh, yeah.
And perhaps you want to participate. Why I feel that Mutinda, you're in a very, you know, catch-22 space is the sense that other than what we'll say Gideon is doing, which will be more on delivering, or sorry, Isaac is delivering, which will be more on the goods, is that yours is a service.
Yes.
You know? And the aspects to do with a service are different from that of a good, because, you know, you can just deliver and, yeah, this is what you ordered for, and that's it.
Yeah.
For your clients, how do you ensure satisfaction? Because, you know, here you are, you're connecting them to holidays and experiences, but at the end of it all, you know, how do you ensure that, you know, you go back and actually your clients, I should say, are satisfied with the services they received? And here I'm looking at, of course, the tourist destinations that they visit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Laban. And being in the service industry, you're looking at customer experience, because someone cannot request a service when the service never served him well in the first place. So you realize a service basically delves on the customer experience. And what our platform Homestay is pushing out is that if we are listing any form of property, that is from apartments, homes, castles and all that, is that every host has to be verified in a way that the service has to be verified such that the customer, when he visits the facility or when he consumes the facility, he can be able to get value for, number one, what he saw, and that what he saw is exactly what it is. And pegging the same on customer reviews is actually going it's going a big way in terms of making sure that the client is satisfied. And most shoppers, you realize when they're buying anything online, they want that kind of trust. And many will go and check out on the reviews and recommendations of the place. And all the places that are listed on our platform are all verified, such that we are sure we are giving what the client wants, and he doesn't find something different from what he saw.
Let me be the devil's advocate. Should anything happen, you know, especially, yes, to the cyber territory, you know, I'm looking at, you know, in cases of fraud, in cases, you know, you have people who've actually paid perhaps, but you realize, you know, perhaps the payment did not go through, or people were paying by card. Who do you fall back on, you know, in this cyber territory? I don't know. Anyone who can jump in. Yeah.
Maybe I would help to answer that. Any existing cyber territory platform, whether it's a booking or a rent, for the platforms that you have created in Church Blaze group, when we realized that could be a possible problem, we went back and we decided, for example, we are going to work with our bank to create our kind of account management system, that if you're a client and you're paying for end service, that money goes to a kind of an escrow account. When the client gets to the service, they can also open a kind of complaint. After looking at the complaints, then whichever person is responsible, whether it's Gideon, who is the managing director, or of another of our subsidiary, they can evaluate and decide if that money is going to be forwarded to the owner of the service, or the money should be reverted back. Those are some of the measures. But I again must still say that as the innovators, there is the place of the government to play.
Okay.
And probably I need to bring this to attention. For Kenya to get faster, we are long overdue to get the government to form a cyber command center. If you go to the developed world, a cyber command center is the cyber command center that manages the issues pertaining to cyber territory. I am not talking against the Communication Authority of Kenya, but I'm just thinking that a cyber command center is already a territory that needs, if it's, for example, from the police department, you cannot get a cyber command center that is managed by a junior police officer at the level of an inspector. Or we need a cyber command center that is able to manage from the social media where the communication is to the banking to hospitality, all the industries that are being touched by the cyber territory. We need to have a senior person who is very technologically savvy, chairing a serious cyber command center that can coordinate all that, and that can also come to create a framework that can govern the same cyber command center.
I'll come back to you and I'll pose a challenge, by the way, on a very serious note. Picture yourself at CA and looking at, the internet space that you're operating in. What would be kind of the 3 points, if you'd suggest, or if you were to even write a paper to see and actually say, this is what I feel that Kenya is headed, and based on our experience at Nunua and Church Place, this is what I see will go. We'll come back to that. I'm going to cross over again to Gideon, because your story is a bit unique, because you're looking at young people who are always looking towards employment.
Yeah, sure.
You kind of did not want to get deeper into that, but how did you manage to ensure that this is what you're going to do for the long haul, and with what you're actually doing in terms of capital, in terms of even the resources to actually just invest into it, and future forward? Where do you see Nunua headed, and competition? You have even Jumia who are also in that space.
Sure. I would say it is time for the young people to stop complaining there is no jobs. If you went to the university and got a skill, try and use that skill to change the community around you. That's exactly what I did. So when I first started to develop Nunua, the first thing I had to do was, I knew this was a capital-intensive venture. So I started sourcing for finances. Do a good business proposal, come up with a good business case that you are able to present to anybody, and anybody who has sense can be able to come on board and be able to finance it. I was very lucky to meet Church Place Group Limited, and they invested hugely on it. Going back to what we were saying, because I don't want to belabor what Nunua does. You said that we are actually we are a disruptive technology. We are disrupting the distribution channel in this country. That's exactly what you are doing. Because what I can tell you is this, we are in the FMCG market segment. FMCG is what every Kenyan consumes. Right now we are complaining the prices of commodities are very high, and all these things are very high. Let me ask you a very simple question. Why would a retail outlet, which is a key account to any manufacturer, have its products highly priced than a retail shop in the estate, which prices have been marked up 3 times, from the wholesaler to another wholesaler in town to another distributor? It has been marked up by 60%, and it's cheaper than the one which is a key account. So you see, these are some of the challenges that Nunua came on board to be able to solve. We are helping do direct sales. If right now you log on onto Nunua, it's a mobile application which you can load on the Google Play Store. Our products are cheaper than the ones you can find on the shelves of outlets, because we are now helping manufacturers be able to sell directly to the end consumer without having to have a distribution channel that marks up the prices. Okay. So that's the kind of change we're trying to bring on board. The other thing that you've looked at, it is now the point.
Hang on to that.
Yes.
Definitely. We're coming to that, but we have Chacha on the line. And Chacha, if you can actually pose your question to a great panel today.
Hello?
Hello, Chacha. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say that it's...
All right, sorry, I think we lost Chacha there, but let's try Irene. Irene, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, please pose your question to our panel.
Okay, we appreciate the online marketing, and that we are able to access the products online. But hello?
I can hear you, go ahead.
Yes, but my challenge has been always, okay, I buy maybe a phone, and it is delivered at my comfort zone. But in case of any challenge or you need it repair, there is no provision of what happens after that.
I get you.
So my challenge is to the panel to start thinking about that, because if it is delivered in Eldoret and there is no center, maybe for like a keyboard phone in Eldoret, I have to come all the way or arrange for it to be brought back to Nairobi. So those are some of the challenges that I have experienced with online marketing. And for me, I was like, I better go walk into a shop knowing that next time if I have a challenge, I will walk into the same shop.
Great. Thanks, Irene. I think you're looking more on after-sales service.
Yes.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
come back to that. Definitely, I see Gideon wants to answer your question really quickly. Gideon, what's your quick comment to Irene?
Yes, Nunua has been on the forefront to be able to solve that kind of a problem. So we have a return policy, and what we are doing is we are expanding across the country using the agency model. The agency model is whereby if we are in Eldoret, we have a person who is our agent in Eldoret, who rolls out Nunua in Eldoret. So there is a responsible person in Eldoret with a very good return policy. If something is bad, which came to you, you are able to return to a person who is closest to you.
From date of purchase to the time of period of complaint and return, how many days is that? What's your policy on that?
Because our deliveries are 24-hour deliveries. If your good is bad on delivery, you can return that day. But we give up to a leeway of 7 days.
7 days.
7 days.
From time of
Yes.
time
There's
of
something I
purchase.
think I need to comment about that.
Yes.
Because she has talked about the phone.
Yeah.
An electronic gadget.
Yes.
What the Kenyans needs to know is that with the electronic consumption in Kenya, the warrant is managed by the Communication Authority of Kenya, and the Communication Authority of Kenya keeps talking about it. You have a right to have a warrant. And I'm sure the CA is really imposing this. This has got nothing to do with the sellers, whether you are online or you are in the shop. Any item that you are buying, you as a seller, you should know that you should cushion the buyer, and that is beyond. It's not something to negotiate about it because it's regulated by the.
And remember, you still have your 3 points. I don't want you to. I'll come back to you. Your 3 points from Isaac Muthui to CA. What you'll actually recommend, especially in terms of boosting this mobile telephone space. Mutinda, do you have a quick comment onto what Irene said? In terms of after sales. Again, you're still in a catchment because you do not quite have an after sales. But I would say maybe get feedback even from your clients. After going through your service.
Yeah, basically, I believe feedback is very key in terms of fine-tuning operations. And I believe the industry players, and including Gideon here, I know being in the market in the same kind of industry, it's a gradual kind of process. And it's breaking the culture of, if I buy this, can I be able to return it? Because that's a question every consumer is asking himself. Like, okay, I can buy. What if it is faulty? So if there is a very clear-cut return policy, most of them are just written as disclaimers. Down there, very small, you cannot be able to note. If there's something very clear about this that is laid out there, then a client doesn't have something to worry about because he's so sure if he gets something faulty or different from what he thought, he can always be able to get it back seamlessly without making a lot of calls, follow-ups and all that, because it will be all frustrations.
All right.
Yeah.
Gideon, are you ready for this? This is a question from John Gitonga, at John Gitonga, a $1 million question. And he asks, how do you reach Kenyans in Turkana and Pokot?
Wow. I will answer that question with the article today from Safaricom.
Okay.
I have seen the consultants who are hired by CA. They are clearly saying that a dominant player should be able to expose their other channels of access, which is the USSD and SIM application to every other competitor who comes on board. You see, Safaricom being dominant maybe is a good thing because Safaricom is in Turkana and it's also there, right? But the challenge is, for we who are also competitors in the industry, it is very difficult for them to allow us to use their infrastructure, right? And I think the recommendations here, either way or another, would work for upcoming entrepreneurs like us. USSD is a channel that can be accessed anywhere in this country, whether by internet or with internet or with no internet. That is something. Those are channels that we are exploring. Also, the SMS gateways, they are channels that we are exploring. And right now that I'm seeing that the CEA would allow us to use network that is all over. Those are something. That's something that is possible. We can reach people in Turkana. Yes.
I think he's added into you one of your points that you want to recommend to see. I think, John, I hope that question has been answered. Remember, you can keep tweeting us at Nunua, even at Nunua_254, and also at AM Live NTV at NTV Kenya, and you can also tweet me directly at Laban-Cliff, and we'll be able to sample your tweets, such as we did with John, and I can see them trickling in. Some of them we will not quite respond, of course, looking at issues, and people are looking at, say for instance, this tweet by Cambridge Side, it says that this uptake has been helped by internet connectivity and phone penetration, looking at what the mobile telephony space has been. But over to you now. And Isaac, this is now looking at your 3 points. Picture yourself at CA.
Yes.
Right up at Westlands, and you're there, and you've been, given this job as a consultant to ensure that this cyber territory is boosted and enhanced. What will be your 3 points to Mr. Ongusi?
First, of course, is playing the regulator. But I would begin by saying what Bill Gates said, that success in any economy is identifying where the world will go in the future and going there and waiting for them. What that means is that we have seen at times the regulator becoming an obstacle to innovation because the innovation goes beyond him. So I strongly believe that the CA authority should be having an evaluation team to innovation, and that can be gathering information from the innovators so that they can keep on helping the creation of the frameworks that they are not always under crisis to manage what has caught up with them. The second point is that considering creating a cyber command center that coordinates with the police, that coordinates with the revenue authority, that coordinates with the existing innovation. And the third most important thing, I'm calling it most important thing, it is because it is touching on our generation. And if you can just give me a minute, I'll tell you that the mining of the Kenyan cyber territory is being done by the developed world. That the young people are put into a competition and they end up carrying all the innovated applications. The big boys, the big players, we know a lot of them who take interns. The interns keep innovating and they are only given bus fare, and later you see the rollout of the same product. So the CA now should be thinking about how to protect the intellectual property, the innovation, to make sure that if there are joint ventures who are coming from out of the country to invest in our country, or rather to mine our cyber territory, that they are not robbing off. That's coming up with a very clear policy guiding the innovation and the buyout. Because right now what's happening out there in the market, I think while we are sleeping, someone is stealing what matters from this country. Okay. And that is the cyberspace wealth.
Okay.
Yes.
Mutinda, as we're coming to a soft landing, I should say, I didn't want to ask Church Place because I know Isaac will be a bit skewed into this.
Okay.
If you look at, someone like Gideon, and you sit right in the middle, and you can actually be able to, be analyst into this. This is somebody who had a very good idea and went into Isaac, and through Church Place was assisted, and given the platform. From where you sit and as you run your business, what do you think will be the opportunity, especially for mentorship, for assistance, technical guidance, capital, enhancement in small-scale businesses? I don't know what you say, such as what transpired with Church Place and
exactly. Well, I think that's something worth to be emulated by the big players and those people who believe they can be able to support technology in Kenya, because I believe much more we have in the countries. Talent is with the young people, but money is with the aged guys. And therefore, these people have to meet up at a certain point whereby they can be able to understand each other. The investor can be able to understand the real value of this product. But
it's not easy until you realize you're asking somebody who's constructed, you said in your words, Isaac, that they've invested 20 million in a house in Mulolongo, and you're asking them to cash in 20 million in an application?
I believe you must have had a proof of concept.
Yeah, sure.
Or not it's able to
a
work.
very well explained business case.
So as a young talented person with an innovative idea, you really have to package your idea nicely. You really have to package your product nicely and put a lot of work into it, such that an investor coming on board can be able to see where the money is going to. You don't just come up with a proposal pulled up from the internet and then edit a little bit and then taking it out there. But again, I also believe as an innovator, there is those first steps you need to take. I believe, Gideon, you must have been in the jungle for some time.
For something?
You must hit the road. And when you are hitting the road and you are meeting prospective clients, you are shelving and delving into details of your project, that's where someone else who can be able, or another company that can be able to invest in it, can be able to see it out to you. Because an idea is good with you, but it has to go out there for people to believe in it. You can have it in the mind or on your laptop, whatever, but it is yours. But when you get it out, that's when, of course, now the industry players can be able to come in and probably inject something into it and give it a lifeline.